Today's learning target is I can use the distributive property to simplify algebraic expressions. Today you'll be asked to identify the terms, the like terms, coefficients, and constants in certain expressions. The first thing I'm going to do is make this expression a little clearer. So I have 6x and I have a minus 2y. Okay, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take plus a negative 2y, like this, and then plus x, and I'm going to have plus a negative 5, like that. Keep in mind that I have not changed the value of this expression by making this negative a positive and then making this a negative 2. Think of it, take a look down here, and think of it this way. 6 minus 2 is 4, right? But if I change that negative to a plus and then make it a negative 2, if I have 6 plus a negative 2, that also equals 4. So really what it's going to do is it's going to make things a little easier a little later on here. I'm asked to identify my terms. So remember terms, I would have 6x, I would have negative 2y, I would have x, and I would have negative 5. Now you can see where figuring out the terms is a little easier when I change this negative to a positive and I make that a negative. So I've written those terms down here. Now I'm going to take a look at the like terms. Remember, like terms are those terms that have the same variable. So 6x and x have the same variable. Those are my like terms. So I've placed those like terms down here. Now I'm going to be looking at coefficients. And remember, coefficients are the numerical value or the number value of each variable. So I can see my coefficient here is 6 because there's 6 x's, so it's 6. My coefficient here for y is negative 2. And my coefficient for this x would be 1, because if there's nothing in front of it, there's just one of them. So I write those numbers here for the coefficients. And lastly, I'm going to look at my constants. And remember that the only constant I see here is negative 5, because it's the only one that does not have a variable with it. So here I'm asked to simplify this expression. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to get these minuses. I'm going to want to rewrite those. Okay, and so I'm going to go 5n, stays the same, plus 2. Now let's take a look here at our minus, and so I can swap this to a plus negative n. So if I do that, it's going to be exactly the same. And again, you're going to see why shortly, why we do this. Okay, and then here again we've got another one, so let's change that into a plus negative 6. Okay, so we're going to get in a habit of doing that because it's going to help you later. So now I've got 5n here and I have negative n here. So I have 5n here minus n. That's going to give me 4n. So I'll put that here, 4n. Okay, that takes care of that, and it takes care of that. Now I have 2 here, and I have negative 6 here. So 2 plus a negative 6 would give me negative 4. So I can't simplify it down, so that would be my final answer. So today you're going to be asked to simplify expressions like you see here. However, when we write the problem down, rather than having the subtraction sign here, we're going to add a negative anytime we see a subtraction. Okay, and that's going to make sure that we don't miss something later on, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So instead of a minus, I'm going to plus a negative 3. X, there's a negative, so I'm going to add a negative 2y. I'll put that in parentheses like that. Okay. And now I want to use the distributive property to get rid of my parentheses here. So I'm going to go here to here, and then here to here. So now I get 6y plus a negative 3 times x is a negative 3x. Okay. Plus a negative 3 times a negative 2. A negative times a negative is a positive. So 6y And now I combine my like terms. So I have 6y here plus 6y here. That's going to give me 12y. Now I have plus a negative 3x. Okay, but we know we don't want to have this plus and negative right by each other, so I know that's the same as 12y minus 3x. All right, let's take a look at this problem here. It says you have some money in a savings account. All right, your sister has $25 more than you have in her account, and it wants us to write an expression in simplest form that represents the total amount of money in both accounts. I know I'm going to be using a variable because there's a number that I don't know. It says I have some money in my account, so I'm just going to use the variable m. Okay, and I'm putting that under me because that's the amount in my account. Now my sister, it says, has $25 more than I have in my account. So to show that, I'd have to do 25 more than I have, and the amount I have is m. Okay, now the total amount in both accounts. So to do that, I'd have to add up my amount and my sister's amount. So m is the variable that represents my amount, plus my sister's amount was 25 plus m. And now, in simplest form, means we want to combine like terms. So I have an m here and an m here. So an m plus another m would give me 2m. And what's left there is plus 25.